Hey guys, welcome to Fearless Cooking. So we're starting something kind of new today. I'm going to try and focus more on things that I know that people, well, let me rephrase that. Things that I hope people have in their pantry and in their cupboards. Um, now, not everybody is going to have anchovies, but that's just because they haven't fully understood the power of anchovies. And hopefully I can illustrate that today. First thing I want us to do before I go through ingredients and everything else is get some water to boil on the stove. And now this is not how much water I would normally use for pasta. But what we want to do with today is we're going to cook the spaghetti in a little less water than normal so that we have like concentrated starch in the water, because we're going to use a little bit of that to help bind the sauce.
Would you remind us what we're cooking today?
Yeah, so today we're cooking spaghetti puttanesca. And what that is it's anchovies and tuna and capers and olives and garlic and cracked red pepper and tomatoes and a little bit of Italian parsley. And then over here, I've got some pecorino romano cheese. So like I said, I'm going to get this started. I'll get it like on the stove over here.
But use a little less water than
normal, because we want we're actually, instead of like just draining it, we'll take tongs and take the spaghetti and put it in the sauce. So we're going to finish cooking it in the sauce.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to, as usual, get everything prepped before we get the fire going. Okay, except I'm trying to get the water to boil. And what I've done is this is 1/4 cup of capers. This is probably 1/4 cup of olives, and you can use either black or green olives. These are green olives that are stuffed with jalapeno and garlic. This is 4 cloves of garlic. This is like a big fat pinch of crushed red pepper. I'm just using this tin of anchovies. We're going to chop those up. I'm not going to use the full can of tomatoes. We'll pour them in here, and then the recipe that Serious Eats used was a cup of tomato, but it was like using whole tomatoes that you crushed. Well, I didn't have any whole tomatoes. And I think kind of as part of the kind of Corona reality, I'm not running to the grocery store. You know, what I'm trying to do is use the stuff that I have here. So that's going to be the kind of adaptability that we're going to do going forward with the stuff we do with Fearless Cooking. And then I'm using a can of yellowfin tuna, but just any kind of tuna will work great. And you know, if it's in olive oil, that's great. This is just, I don't think there's actually really anything in it. There's just a little liquid from the tuna, which I'll probably pour out. So anyway, I'm going to start off by putting the capers on the paper towel. And the reason I'm doing that is we're going to kind of make sure that we finish draining them. Plus, I'm going to roll this thing over and kind of flatten them.
Can you move like the tomatoes and a couple of those things? I think people can see better.
Yeah, let me do that. How's that?
Great. And that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fabulous. Great.
Okay. Now then, I'm just mashing them flat. All right, and now
this is to get some of the liquid out?
Yeah, to get the liquid out, and also to kind of, so that they're not round and rolling all over the place, because we're going to chop them.
Okay, they're already so small.
I know, but we're gonna chop them just a little bit more.
Okay.
And here we go. Now these are, what's interesting is there's capers and then there's caper berries, and they're actually 2 different things. But I like both of them, and you know, you kind of have to play with, all right, what flavors do you like? We'll do something sometime with caper berries.
What's the difference between them and their flavors, do you think?
They both have kind of a similar flavor. The caper berries, I think, have almost like a little bit of a citrus note. They both kind of have a little bit of a vinegary flavor. Yeah. And they're actually like a flower. And you know, it's funny, I never used capers before, and then I don't know, it's probably been a couple of years ago, I tried them for the first time, and I was like, wow, I love them with like fish or chicken, and they go great with olives.
They add a nice little extra flavor. So you're just chopping these as finely as you can?
Yep. And then I'm going to put them back in that bowl. Yeah, I like them on salmon too. They're great with salmon. In fact, a lot of times when we do the smoked salmon, we'll just do smoked salmon, capers, and some goat cheese.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. Now we're going to chop the olives.
And how finely do they need to be?
Just kind of a rough chop.
Okay. These are pretty rolly too, so I notice you're using the claw to kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's keep that. You know, it's trying to having something lurching around when you're cutting it is a great recipe for a removal of a fingertip. And now is not the time I want to go to an ER.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, do this one.
Yeah, the recipe normally calls for black olives, but
yeah, and I did, because for me, I love the way that the green olives and the capers go together. So I just made a kind of a executive decision that I was going to depart from their recommendation, and it's like one of these days I'll try it the other way.
Yeah.
All right, now then I'm going to take the garlic, and I will just smash them flat and peel them, and then slice it really thin.
Okay.
So just lay the flat of the knife on. And I always just make sure I'm not getting my hand out by the blade whenever I do that. Once again, just like it should not be a contact sport. All right. And there's all kinds of tools and stuff to peel garlic. What I found is, like with this, it really kind of simplifies it. Now, I've got one of those sleeves that's, and I think it works pretty well, but it's like, that's just kind of one more thing to clean and keep up with. And even though it was a very thoughtful gift from my wife, it's like, and I use it every once in a while. If I've got a whole lot of garlic to do, I'll use it. But especially when I've got fairly big cloves like this.
Yeah, it's easy to peel.
Yeah. Now this one's got a couple of little spots on it, so all I'm going to do is just, trim those off. Yeah. Got rid of that. And then get this last piece done. And then what I always do is I cut the little end off, the little kind of the stem end. Yeah. All right.
So how are you chopping these down?
I'm going to chop them real fine.
Oh, I think you said thin slices. I misunderstood.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just really.
Yeah, not chop it, just slice fine.
Okay. You're just cutting the ends off right now.
Mm-hmm. Because that is kind of a little tough piece.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, I'm just going to take them and just make it as thin as I can.
Okay.
And now one of the things that's going to do is it means we've got to really kind of pay attention to this when we're cooking, because we don't want the flame too hot, because if you burn the garlic, then it gets that kind of bitter, acrid taste. So we want to make sure that we're not doing that.
What kind of pasta did you use?
I'm using a quinoa pasta, and I was looking up, okay, what is supposed, serving of dry pasta, and what they said was an ounce, and they said that's about a quarter size if you're like holding it, if you've got it in your hand. That's about like that. So, I figured that with this, that's basically like kind of 2 servings. And, I think that'll be more like, for us, it'll be more like 4 servings.
Yeah, a lot.
But it's like, okay, we'll keep it in the fridge and figure out something else to do with it this week.
You don't use it all in the sauce.
Yeah. It's kind of turned on its side, so I'm not going to try to reposition it. I'm just going to cut it on its other side.
A lot of garlic in this.
I know, which is, that's one of the things that they've said is that, that this is a rather pungent dish.
Lots of flavors for sure.
Yes, lots of flavors. Yeah. All right, so now there's that prep. I was going to say anything else? Nope, I think I'll just open up the anchovies. Oh, and today's wine is, I don't know what this is. The 75th Wine Company is the name of these guys. And I've liked it. This is a 2017. And
it's Costco. You get it at Costco, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I like the flavor of it.
What is it?
It's a Cabernet.
Cabernet.
Yeah. And you could do red or white with this because the flavors are going to be so assertive. I mean, probably like a Chardonnay would go with it great.
Okay, good. That's what I'll have tonight.
Yeah.
So you're not putting the garlic back in the bowl? You're leaving that out for now?
Yeah, because I'm getting ready to put it in here.
It'll go in early.
Yeah. I'm just wanting to open this up to see what I've got in here. And yeah, I need to chop these up. I do have one other ingredient here. And I will just dump it. Actually, I'll get another one of those. All right. And then the other thing that I'm going to do to have us ready is I need to get a spoon.
You can kind of hear the water boiling.
It's just starting to, yeah.
Okay.
So I tell you what, I think we're good there.
Okay.
You know what? I think, let's see if it'll cover.
You need it to just barely cover?
Yeah, I want it to cover because I think I'm going to add just a touch of water to that. Which is going to extend my boiling time a little bit. Actually, screw it. Let's just see what it does. This is
all right.
Cooking.
This is fearless, huh? Yeah. Go for it.
Make sure that I get it down in there.
Close that door.
Yeah, because I would like.
Okay, tell us what you're doing there.
So what I'm trying to do is get the spaghetti where it lays flat without breaking it.
Okay.
So I'm letting it soften just a little bit so that it'll go ahead and lay flat.
And do you need me to set a timer?
I will in just a second.
Okay. My understanding, you're prepping this a little bit different. You're not cooking it all the way.
Yeah, so we're gonna take it up about 2 minutes prior to al dente. And this, like the ingredients on this say to cook it for 11 minutes. We're gonna cook it for 10.
Okay, once it starts boiling again.
Yeah, well actually no, we're gonna start it just once I get it down in there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so it's all in there, so
okay,
we're good.
Start for 10 minutes?
Yep.
All right, I've just set the timer.
And I'm gonna add some salt to the pasta water here.
Okay. Why such a little amount of water, not the normal?
Because what they're looking for is a higher starch content in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to use the water to help set the sauce.
Oh, all of it or just
no, just like a few tablespoons.
Okay.
All right, so I'll just have to kind of pop in on this.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn it down just a touch. I want to keep it boiling, but I don't want to.
You don't want a hard boil, just
All right, there we go. All right.
okay.
Now I'll leave that alone. Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
Now then, we're gonna take the garlic there. Actually, I'm gonna put them back in here just because I'm gonna be cutting the anchovies.
Yeah, those would be a good wise move.
Yeah. And I'm gonna use the oil out of here and put that in there as well.
The oil out of the anchovies?
Because it's
Yeah.
olive oil, and it will be, you know, super. And you know what? I have to say that I think does this thing cost for like 5 or 6 fillets, and that's well more than that. So I think we'll just use like about half of those anchovies.
Okay.
Okay, and we're just gonna cut them up real fine.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge anchovy fan, so
Yeah,
talk about anchovies.
so anchovies, you know, it's like as a kid, I just remember that was one of the things that was like a hard no for my dad on pizza, right? And you know, there was places we'd go that if you got everything on the pizza, it included anchovies. And I would always remember my dad going, you know, hold the anchovies. And that was just kind of a signal to me that my anchovies aren't okay. Well, over the years, what I realized was that yes, I mean, an anchovy, you take an anchovy by itself, and that's got a very strong fish flavor and a real salty flavor. The magic of anchovies, though, is what they do. They transform dishes, because that is like an umami bomb right there.
Okay.
So what fish sauce is basically anchovies that have been packed in salt, and it allows them to just kind of like dissolve and ferment, and that's what makes fish sauce.
Okay.
And fish sauce makes just about everything better.
Yeah.
So what we're doing with the anchovies is we're using them to just like enhance the flavor.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this flame lit.
Start on the sauce, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to use like 4 tablespoons of olive oil.
Okay.
So once again, we're going to use kind of the guesstimate method, because that's 1/4 cup. So that's probably 1/4 cup. All right. And we're not going to, I don't want to crank this thing too high, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. All right. And so what we're going to add is we're going to add the anchovies. And I'm just going to go ahead and put them in, and I'm going to put the garlic in, because I want to put this in so it doesn't like get too far ahead of itself.
Okay. And then what's the third thing
And I
we
put
just put in?
the pepper flakes.
Okay.
All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this stirred so that I don't burn my garlic.
Yeah. Okay. And that's sort of a medium heat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And what we should see is those anchovies start to almost dissolve.
And then how long are you going to cook this so the garlic is?
As it starts to get kind of it's going to take on a little bit of color.
Okay, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then see, I want to see what order we're doing here. You know, it's like we're going to add. So when we're done with this, we're going to add the tomatoes, and then
the capers and olives first.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah,
and then the tomatoes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and open these.
And are they supposed to be chopped, the tomatoes?
Nope. Well, these are stewed.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
they're already
Yeah.
chopped.
So yeah, because the other ones were already. I mean, they were whole, and you're just gonna break them up.
Okay.
There they are. Where did my capers go? All right. So let me look at this real quick.
So, are you going to read it for you? You've got capers and olives, and then the tomatoes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Thanks.
then it looks like the pasta will go in.
Yep.
right after that. So we got 4 minutes left on the pasta.
All right, let me hit it with a quick. All right.
So it is kind of, we have to time things. You kind of have to pay attention, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Crank this up just a little bit so we get a little bit of a simmer going.
Okay.
Yeah, then you can start to
hear it.
smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it and
Hear
smell it.
Smell it, yeah. So you're just stirring them to keep them all in the,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, just making sure that they don't start to burn.
Are they starting to change color a bit?
A little bit. Just starting to get a little bit of gold. Oh, and then I'm going to have to grate some Parmesan too. So I'll do that in just a second once I get everything else in there.
Did you not make some flour and get it done ahead of time?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Breaking your own rules.
I
And now
know.
this is a good, you know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of provides evidence for why it's important.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how are they looking?
They're good. I think we're just gonna be ready to go in about another minute.
Okay.
All right, so it's capers and
capers
olives.
and olives are next. Stir
All right.
those in to combine. Yeah, I did say the garlic should go about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. All right. Now then we'll do. Yeah, let's give it just another minute. How much longer on the 2 minutes?
2 minutes
Okay.
for the pasta.
All right. All right, I'm going in with the capers. I'm going in with the olives.
Olives, okay.
All right. Oh, yeah. Damn, that smells good.
Oh yeah, I just got a wet buzz. How's the pasta doing?
Looking good.
Great.
All right. All right. Now, how long on the?
Did you say just to combine and then bring in the tomatoes and you're supposed to kind of bring that to a bare simmer before you add the pasta.
All right. I'm just gonna do a can.
You're not doing the whole can of tomatoes.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Okay.
All right. That's simmering pretty vigorously.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna grate some Parmesan.
For later.
Yeah. When does it say to put the Parmesan in?
I know.
I think it's on the second page. I think it's actually after we do the pasta.
Oh yeah, it's at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the
Good.
very end.
All
So
right.
you're good. That's why you waited.
Okay. So in the I
You have your
store
colander
my
ready?
huh?
You have a colander?
You don't do a colander. We're just going to use. What we're going to do is we're going to come out of the.
Oh, it did say alternatively.
Yeah, but I'm not
you can
gonna do
drain it
that.
to a colander. Oh, you're
Yeah.
choosing not to. Got it.
The thing with the Parmesan is I wrap, and that's pecorino romano. I always wrap it in paper towels and put it in a Ziploc bag because it keeps it from getting moldy that way.
Yeah. It does last really long.
Yes.
All right. Timer's ready to go off.
All right.
There we go.
Perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the pot and put it over here.
Okay.
And there's a high likelihood that candles are going to be scalding. So
yeah,
I'm
happy
not
to
gonna.
see you not.
Yeah. All right. So now then, I'm going to take the tongs.
Transfer it.
Mm-hmm. And I cleaned this counter earlier, so I know it's clean.
It's been always sanitized for sure.
Yeah, this is good. And now then we're gonna just stir it in here so that we get all of that good stuff on the noodles. Mmm.
Yeah, so a few tablespoons of the pasta water. That's interesting. Huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to help set the sauce.
It smells so yummy.
Uh-huh.
So did you use all the pasta or most of it?
No, I used probably about half of it. I think that, you know, it's obvious that that cooks. That's pretty close to al dente. So, actually, I'm going to put a little bit more.
Tomatoes? How come?
Just to make sure that I got plenty of sauce.
Okay, got it.
All right, and then we've got the.
Yeah, it's just to bring it to a vigorous simmer after you add the extra pasta water.
Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so let's put some pasta water in there. So I got a ladle here. I said use a few tablespoons. Okay. Let's see if that does it for us.
And then increase the heat, it says, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Well, this is pretty quick and easy. This
It is. I mean, this is a weeknight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the tuna because it talks about doing that and then forking it.
Oh wait, I was wrong. You
Right.
are supposed to add parsley and cheese. Stir in the remaining oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put this in there. Yeah, this is not a problem. I'm just gonna grate it right in there. All right. So I'm just gonna break this up. Okay, and then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remaining olive oil, parsley, and cheese.
Yeah. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Move that. We'll go straight in there with this. And it said an ounce, but I'm just like, okay, I want plenty of cheese in here.
You can always put more grated cheese on the top when you serve it.
Absolutely. All right. And then chop these real quick. And then one of the things I would suggest with this is go heavy on the black pepper, easy on the salt, because everything in here just about is fairly salty.
Very salty, yeah. Did you put in extra olive oil?
Not yet, I'm getting ready to do that. And I'm going to turn the heat down just a touch. Oh yeah, wow.
I'm looking forward to this tonight.
I'm going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. You know, the world is kind of a messed up place right now. There's, you know, it's like, it's easy to get sucked into all of the fear because everybody's scared because we don't know what's happening next. But the one thing is that, you know, it's like kind of, we have to kind of take pleasure in the stuff that we've got some control over.
Yeah.
So it's like, feed yourselves well, take care of your families, you know, reach out to people that you know are by themselves, because right now that connectivity, that, you know, having people know that there's other folks out there that care about them is important right now. So guys, here is today's Fearless Cooking. Let me hit it with some pepper. And we're gonna experiment with some stuff over the coming weeks, next week's meal is going to be a chicken fried rice, and I'm going to use canned chicken. And if you want to use rice, that's fine. I'm going to probably use cauliflower rice. I'll get the recipe out early in the week, and then I'm playing with the idea of trying to do some type of like potluck where we kind of like cook stuff together. So, I mean, we're like able to really see what each other's cooking. So anyway, but I'd love your feedback on that. But I hope that the rest of the week goes great for you. I look forward to cooking with you guys next week. And there's our finished product. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye, everyone.